Johnny Carson ruled late night like a tux-clad Zen master, but the 10 incidents you're about to relive reveal the night's serenity shattered, and history got interesting. They're the evenings when a tomahawk ruined a cowboy's dignity, a 60-pound python tried to unionize, and a seemingly tipsy crooner made the network censors reach for antacid. Each segment crackled because Carson, the unflappable ringleader, surrendered to chaos and let the cameras savor every unscripted beat. Settle in. The king of cool is about to sweat, laugh, sprint, and, even rarer, cry. 1. The Tomahawk Herd, Round the World. On 29th of April 1965, actor-singer Ed Ames visited to demonstrate frontier weaponry. He delivered a quick tutorial, raised his arm, and launched a tomahawk toward a wooden cowboy cutout, thunk, right into the plywood pelvis. The audience howled, but the truly historic eruption came from Carson. He doubled over, gasped for air, wiped tears, and howled again, all while network execs in New York screamed into open phone lines. Cut to commercial! Johnny couldn't. His laughter fed the audience's hysteria, creating a feedback loop that lasted 3 solid minutes, an eternity on live TV. When composure finally flickered back, he dropped one of the great spontaneous punchlines. I didn't even know he was Jewish. That quip jammed switchboards and earned a permanent spot in NBC's holiday blooper reels. Public access stations, desperate for content in the 1970s, reran the clip so often that the Ames Tomahawk became shorthand among editors for accidental gold you never cut. 2. Rickles versus the Sacred Cigarette Box. Carson's walnut cigarette box, gifted by Jack Benny, wasn't just a desk prop, it was a lucky talisman. In October 1973, Don Rickles guest-hosted and, mid-monologue, slapped the lid so hard it snapped. The next night, Johnny displayed the fractured relic like courtroom evidence, promising payback. Fast forward 2 months. Rickles was taping CPO Sharkey on Stage 3. During a Tonight Show commercial break, Carson spotted the red tally light outside his studio, grabbed an impromptu camera crew, and bolted. Viewers suddenly found themselves inside a sitcom set, watching Johnny crash a scene in progress. "Hold it, Admiral Loudmouth," Carson barked, waving the splintered box. Rickles, dressed in navy whites, froze mid-line, part fear, part delight. Studio techs scrambled. NBC lawyers debated live liability. Carson grilled him. "You gonna buy me a new box or re-enlist to pay it off?" The bit finished with Rickles mock proposing at Johnny's feet, begging clemency. Ratings spiked 18% that week, proving revenge, if televised, really is sweet. 3. Dolly Parton and the line that launched 1,000 letters. Late 1977, Dolly floated on stage radiating sequins and Tennessee sunshine. Mid-chat, Johnny's eyes flicked south. Out popped the now infamous, "I'd give a year of my life to peek under that blouse." Gasps, cheers, and nervous titters collided. Dolly tossed her trademark head and fired back, "Honey, wouldn't do you no good. You couldn't breathe down there." Viewers split into 2 furious camps. Lighten up, America versus have some respect, sir. NBC's mailroom clocked over 15,000 letters, the largest response until the final week farewell, 15 years later. Publicists feared Dolly would boycott. She didn't. In interviews, she said, "Johnny was just being a man." I took it as a compliment. Cultural scholars now cite the exchange as Exhibit A in late night's shifting etiquette. The moment, harmless innuendo teetered on a new edge of scrutiny. Carson, famous for reading the temperature of Middle America, never crossed that heat line again. 4. Monkey business on the Main. Animal expert Joanne Steele brought a capuchin to a 1979 show aiming to discuss ecology. Halfway through, the monkey decided Carson's silver helmet looked like prime jungle canopy. It leapt, dug in, and ruffled every strand like a Vegas blackjack dealer shuffling cards. Johnny froze. eyes wide, grin strained. Crew members advanced, but he waved them off, silently bargaining with his tiny hairstylist. When the animal finally dismounted, leaving static-blasted puffballs behind, Carson deadpanned. "And that, folks, is why I wear a short-haired wig on weekends." The line killed, but the real triumph was his restraint. Producers later revealed Johnny's earpiece buzzed with frantic instructions. "Get that monkey off our insurance liability." He chose comedy over caution and scored another evergreen clip. 5. Jimmy Stewart's Ode to Bo. February 1981. Jimmy Stewart shuffled in with a folded paper and soft apology. "Johnny, I wrote a little thing." The poem about his late golden retriever began light and nostalgic, then wound into raw heartache. As Stewart's voice cracked on, "I reach out my hand to stroke his hair, but he's not there." Carson's carefully guarded eyes glistened. No violin swell, no canned sentiment, just silence, heavy enough to hear camera lenses whir. Johnny swallowed, clasped Stewart's hand, and whispered, "Thank you, Jim." For the first time since the Kennedy assassination coverage, Nielsen recorded a measurable hush. Viewers nationwide stopped whatever they were doing. The moment recalibrated what late night could contain. Not just laughs, but collective mourning. 6. Robin Williams, Human Lightning Bolt. When Williams visited in 1982, the green room clock rang 12,000 RPM. He started riffing before the curtain opened, sprinted on stage, hijacked Ed McMahon's mug, and used Johnny's head as a landing strip for a parakeet impression. Writers abandoned cue cards. Cameras could barely track him. Mid-segment, Williams vaulted into the audience, narrating seat selections like an auctioneer on helium. Security stepped forward. Johnny signaled "stand down" and watched, tears of unabashed joy spilling. After the show, Carson told staff, "That's what oxygen looks like." Williams's segment ran 11 minutes long. Not a single sponsor complained. The rarity of pure unpredictability was priceless. 7. The Python Breakout. Joan Embry returned in 1978 with a Burmese python, thick as a firefighter's hose. It was supposed to coil politely on Johnny's desk for a quick Q&A. Instead, the snake slid over the lip, headed floorward, and slithered toward Johnny's loafers. Carson shrieked a note just outside human hearing and vaulted onto the back of his chair, tie flapping like surrender. Embry wrestled the reptile. The house band vamped "Baby Elephant Walk." Once safe, Johnny smoothed his hair and murmured, "If anyone finds my dignity, slide it under the door." Zoo attendance spiked 12% the next week. Kids wanted to meet the snake that scared Johnny. 8. Dean Martin's Artful Drunk Act, November 1974. Dean Martin swaggered out smelling like mid-shelf scotch, or a perfect imitation of it. He kissed Carson's cheek, sat on half the couch, then missed the cushion entirely, prompting an 8-second physical gag that would have made Chaplin jealous. Dean attempted a golf anecdote, forgot hole 17, meandered to hole 3, then concluded, the ball went somewhere. "Let's drink." Johnny collapsed. Ed McMahon cackled, and the censors flagged almost every sentence for slurred impropriety. Viewers didn't care. Martin's boozy veneer felt like old Vegas charm. Years later, insiders admitted Dean timed every wobble. The tumbler was iced tea, but the legend of Carson's loosest segment lived larger than any truth. 9. Rickles roasts Sinatra. Everyone survives. May 1976. Frank Sinatra. Tux immaculate, entourage tense. Settled onto the guest couch. Don Rickles pounced. "Look at Frank, folks. The man who put Do-Re-Mi in Cosa Nostra." The room inhaled hard. Carson's pulse audibly spiked. Rickles escalated. "Your bodyguard outside. He's checking my car for dents and bodies." Sinatra's shoulders shook with laughter. The Don of showbiz threw his head back and applauded the audacity. Carson's relief was so visible the studio's humidity rose. Legend says NBC kept EMTs on standby. They weren't needed, but the moment proved even icons like Sinatra were game for a public ribbing, so long as the insult sniper was Rickles. 10. Bette Midler bids farewell, 20 May 1992, second to last show ever. Robin Williams had already detonated comedic napalm. Now Bette Midler slid close and asked to sing. A hush blanketed the seats. Her choice, One for My Baby, summoned every smoky lounge Carson ever visited. Halfway through, she tweaked a lyric, make it one for Johnny and one more for the road, and the 168-piece studio audience melted. Carson's eyes shimmered, then spilled. When the final chord faded, he managed 5 words. I can't top that. Goodbye. America stayed awake an extra hour that night, rewinding the VCR, knowing they'd just seen a curtain fall on more than a show, on a cultural institution. Those 10 eruptions, some funny, some fragile, taught viewers a lesson bigger than any monologue. Live television's magic lies in its refusal to stay scripted. Tomahawks find wrong targets, singers rewrite farewells, snakes chase hosts off chairs, and sometimes the coolest man on TV lets a single tear tour his cheek. Johnny Carson built an empire on timing, but he immortalized it by stepping out of time, embracing blunders, loving eccentrics, and sharing emotions usually hidden behind velvet curtains. Ready for another blast of TV history? Just click the screen and dive in.